you recommend for somebody who says, hey, I lost my job or money's really tight right now? Do you think they should, in terms of, what you pay first and what you focus on, should they try and take advantage of this, or is it something like try and pay your mortgage first, or what's your recommendation there?
First recommendation is you have to call your service provider and see what they're offering. Each bank, each service provider, everyone has different guidelines, regulations as to what they're going to allow for. If you have the ability to pay your mortgage, I strongly suggest paying your mortgage. I know there's a couple different ways that this is the forbearance is going down. One way is you can go up to 3 months without making your mortgage payment, but on the fourth month you have to catch up 1, 2, 3 months that you missed, and then on the fourth month you're essentially making 4 total payments in one.
So it's not free, it's not a giveaway. It's like it's being tacked on somewhere. So
Correct, you're paying for it. The other way is it goes onto the back of the loan, so you're still paying on it. The big issue and a lot of what's not being spoken about is the federal government is saying, sure, you can do that, but the federal government doesn't run banks and doesn't run their guidelines. So if you have 3 30-day lates or a 90-day late on that on your mortgage, that's going to preclude you from refinancing for the next 12 months. It's going to preclude you from purchasing a new home in the next 12 months. So there might be an asterisk on your credit report that states, well, it was due to COVID, but until the banks change their guidelines, which I don't know if that's going to happen, until the banks change their guidelines, it's going to preclude you from doing any sort of residential financing for the next 12 months. So
that is a really good point, and I didn't even know that. So so it's not something that if your bank is offering it, you should just say, oh, I'm going to take advantage of this, because it could hurt you in the long run if rates go even lower and you want to refi, or you decide you want to switch out and buy something new. So for 12 months, that could lock you into not having access to doing those things.
Correct. Yep.
Wow. Okay.
And right now, I don't think anyone can really call the market. But the way that technicals read, the way that mortgage-backed securities and the 10-year treasury, the way they've been trading the yields for the last 60 days, 90 days, we really should be yielding a very, very cheap 30-year fixed rate mortgage. Now, when some of these, as I said, the early default, or does forbearance equal or early default, if and when some of this starts to get worked out, or if the federal government steps up and figures out an early default stimulus or safe haven, if you will, as that starts to happen, we could be in a very, very cheap 30-year fixed.
Right.
It could be next week, it could be 6 months from now, but if you have the ability to bank your mortgage payment, and all of a sudden you take 3 months off, if you will, and then rates are at 2 3/4 or 2.5 30-year fixed, you're not going to be able to jump into it and take advantage of that market.
That's a great point. And I would say, so could people get in touch with you if they have questions about what they should do, and just looking at their existing mortgage, if they were thinking of refining or if they were thinking of purchasing soon, people can reach out to you and run the numbers, and you can help advise as to whether they should stay put, refi, or just kind of wait and see what happens.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, even if you call your service provider and ask them what your options are, I'd still be willing to jump on a call with you and review what the options are. And not everybody can make their payment right now. And if that's, that's what it is, then that's what it is. You have to be able to eat. So, it's not a blanket format answer to any and all client or scenario, but, the first thing you'd want to do, because every service provider is different and has different guidelines, if you will, is talk to your service provider and see what options they have available. And then I'd love to talk to anybody and walk through that.